Fala galera, tudo bem com vocês? Recentemente, o Bruno Pavoleri deu furo sobre a próxima lineup do MBR, afirmando que a equipe iria vir com Mazin, Artzin, RGLM, FRZ e JZZ. E recentemente saiu mais um episódio do Play Chat, e nesse episódio eles tiveram um momento apenas para falar do MBR e da sua nova lineup. E eles foram bem críticos em relação a esse possível elenco do MBR para 2024, e trouxemos esse trecho aqui pra gente conferir. Então já deixa seu like nesse vídeo, confere se está inscrito aqui no canal e vamos lá ver o trecho.
MIB, what is it? Who wrote this slanderous title? I want their head on a spike.
No, but it's kind of facts.
MIBR aiming for 11th place in Americas. That is. I don't think that. I had to read it because I'm the host, but I don't.
Well, okay, who's 11th place in Americas then?
Yeah.
It's, I'm trying to think.
Who?
And
Who's
also,
even close to MIBR
Who
in 11th
like
place?
really sucks? Let's. Who is there? Who is
we
there
don't
that just
know
like,
all
wow,
of the
they
rosters.
really
Like, there's literally a tier gap for MIBR at this point.
Ooh, damn.
oh,
Well,
Continue.
what are Fury
Why?
are doing with their roster? I can't even remember what Fury are up to.
Furia,
Furia,
they've got
what are
like
they up to?
Havoc, MW, some other people. All right,
Yahtzee.
Yeah, they're actually.
Conan.
Theirs
They should be
looks
fun.
interesting.
all right. We need to dive in head first. Okay, you get your little
I'm ready.
fins on. What are those little flapper shoes that you go swimming with? Get
The
those
flapper
on.
shoes,
We're
that's
diving
actually what
into
they're called.
MIBR. I need to see the roster here. It's speculated to be. Okay, there we go.
Arts.
Artzin, Mazin, JZZ, FRZ, and RGL Meister. Thoughts, opinions, and honest to God reactions, Wilkinson.
It's not the most horrible roster I've ever seen in my life, but
Dude,
compared to the other people in Americas, it ain't looking superb, is it?
There we go,
Especially
Shane
considering how they
King
performed this
Wilkinson.
year.
Back at
No,
it
it's
again.
not. It's not. I think. I mean, I don't feel like their performance this year has been particularly good. Is that roster significantly upgraded based off the previous, compared to the previous one? Have they got a change in leadership? I mean, they've brought back in, or rather, they've changed out their IGL for somebody who I don't think did that well this year anyway. It's not like they've got fresh ideas in the team particularly. I don't know. I felt like JCZ had some potential throughout the year, but it's kind of tough when everything's falling to pieces around you and you're always feeling like you're on the back foot. I don't expect them to do very well.
I mean, towards the end of the season, I think that even with Muriz and Heat, who I don't know, I still rate them significantly higher than like a Mazin, not significantly, I shouldn't say that, than Mazin or somebody like that. I don't know much about Artzin, but sounds like me, so he's cool. Artzin. It's just they were the worst team by a long shot after about their win against NRG. They just lost everything after that, other than the 100 Thieves game, and it just was never inspired. It never was people stepping up. It was very rarely any sort of like push at even trying to make those games close. There was a lot of blowouts for them. Like they weren't. It felt like they weren't even trying towards the end. They had a good start, but like it just slipped so
I mean, at
far
the end as
further
well.
than Crew
Heat was gone at the end, right? So
for one game. No,
No,
I mean,
for, like,
LCQ as
LCQ,
well.
LCQ two, which was also one game.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I thought wasn't it for more than one game at the end of the season? Was
Yeah,
it
so
only
it
that
was
game
against at
100
least
Thieves?
EG and 100 Thieves at the end of the season.
I think the first game was the 100 Thieves game.
No, he was going for EG.
No,
as
no,
well.
it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're
I'm not even counting those games though. Like it's before that. They went on like a four loss streak in games that
Yeah.
like they had chances to make playoffs. They had chances to like. I was putting them like for sure after they beat NRG. I was like, yeah, they could take Leviathan. They can do this. Leviathan is in a slump.
They got
And they
smoked
just
by
got
Leviathan.
smoked, and then they got smoked by
They
Sentinels.
got
and
rolled by
smoked by
Sentinels as well.
Furia, and like it's just look at 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. It was such a bad end to the season
It was
for something promising, and I don't know. When I look at that, obviously, I think these guys had like a massive fracture within the team. That it makes sense that they're not, going to be able to perform after something like that if the team is falling apart internally.
Yeah.
But I don't see. I mean, maybe replacing two problem players in Heat and Muriz who have gone together like forever. But the pieces beyond that, they had moments, but I don't see like the vision with them. You know what I mean? I don't see the vision that Bizuka is trying to go with the 3 players that they stuck with.
Yeah, I also think this is just kind of like sad because this now probably means we don't have Digizin on a team, who for me was like always kind of a standout throughout his time last year. And I know that was rumored to happen. Now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And honestly, MIBR, it just kind of looks like uninspired. I'm not really familiar with the players they've picked up at all from the Brazilian scene.
Well,
but I feel
Mazin
like
played for Furia. You're familiar.
Oh yeah, Mazin did, but the Arden too. I mean, if he's like you, maybe it's a good move, but who knows? Who knows? But I just feel like the core roster just seemed so fractured throughout the entire time, and just was never really up to snuff with the rest of the league. So I feel like, barring we get another situation where like, oh, no one really knew about this guy, he's gonna be crazy, maybe they could step it up. But I just feel like the core isn't really in a position where they ever looked close, really, throughout their Americas run, besides the few upsets they were getting early on.
Will they do better than
Yeah.
last place this time? They came in last. I mean, not
They
in the
could get
regular
10th.
season, but, you know, if you include LCQ, they came in last.
What is
Will they
Crew
do
doing
bet-
with that roster again? Because they're rumored to be picking up Shy on Sentinel. And
Yes,
stuff,
they have
aren't
Shy.
They're keeping Melzer.
Shy, Melzer, Kesnet, Klaus, still they were trialing, and I think they're keeping him, I heard. And I can't remember
Yes,
the
they're
last
keeping
player.
I mean,
the
I
last
think
player
that
is somebody
looks-
else from.
I think that roster looks better, and I think that they've at least showcased some ability to play, a coherent system under Melzer's IGLing.
yeah.
I think that the roles make a bit more sense on that team as well. I'm even struggling in my head to try and figure out, like, okay, if Artsin's coming in and he's going to be playing Duelist for them, and that pushes JCC over to playing, like, full Initiator for them, and then they have Mazin playing Flex, probably, RGL Smokes, so then is FRZ just on perma
KJ.
Sentinel duty?
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is assuming that there's, like, a standard meta. It might not look anything like that, but I am not inspired by this. It does look like the weakest roster that I've seen rumored or reported on so far.
I do think like the Furia moves, the MIBR moves, maybe as well allowed. I think all the Brazilian teams, at least bringing one player from Challengers or an up and coming player is important, because I was looking at some of these changes and starting to think, man, like they're just recycling talent. Like these are various different teams. This core is like finally just meshing together or something like that, which I feel like MW is doing a little bit with Liatzi. I'm not sure if they actually went through with Liatzi or not, but either way, like just old Havon Liberty stuff, the MW, like various cores has been like trying to get integrated all over the place. I'm finally happy that like they're not all the same all the time, and that they're picking up and coming talent. Like that's very important in my mind, because it looked like everybody was just going to get cycled. It's just going to be like, okay, we're going to trade this to that, and we're going to have the same players, kind of like what happened in NA for a long time in CS, like just the same old talent getting recycled, and it's not fully that, so that's good.
I guess if a team, like for example, if Cloud9 just completely collapses, if this project with them like just completely blows up, then maybe MIBR have some chances of not finishing over towards the bottom. But remember, LCQ isn't even a thing next year, right? Like the schedule does not have that in place. So if you're towards the bottom, it doesn't really matter whether you're in 11th or whether you're in 10th or something. If you miss out on being able to, perform throughout the season and get into big events and qualify towards champions, then you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, not looking entirely, not looking entirely promising, especially in a region where I think overall most of the teams are making some pretty good moves. I think there's a lot more teams making good moves than bad moves, at least from what I've seen so far, both confirmed and speculated. But of course, the speculated ones, could turn on their head and they could be terrible moves. But at least as it stands right now, I feel like the region is heading in a solid direction.